Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung. It is so nice to have you all here listening to this show, to this podcast. Thank you. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for, I don't know, what am I thanking you for exactly? Thanks. Thanks for sharing your time with me. I guess that's what I'm thanking you for. Lately, there are people around me who are starting to come into awakening. You know, it's like before they were living in the Matrix. Yeah. And then now they're opening their eyes and they're like, suddenly, oh my God, like, I actually really don't like my family members. Or, oh my God, like, I actually really don't like my boyfriend. Or, oh my God, like, I really don't like the person I married. Like, this is starting to happen increasingly around me, like the people around me. And with each person, I'm just like, yeah, congratulations. you have you have opened your eyes and you can now understand and see that you've been living in the Matrix. It's wild. You know, it's fantastic. It's like saying congratulations to somebody. It's like saying Mazel Tov. Yeah. Like you've broken your cherry and you are now a human being. Before you were not. Before you were, I don't know what the hell you were. But now you are a person. So, welcome. Congratulations. Yeah. It's really fascinating like watching this unearthing happen, and then it's fascinating watching how some individuals choose very radically to make bold moves and, snap out of it and change their lives and take agency, whereas others continue to be afraid and question and doubt. And I think all of those things are normal. Yeah, it's all normal. I don't think there's any right way or wrong way. In my instance, I'm very impatient, so I go towards the radical. Yeah, it's like, let's do everything all at once, really fast. Yeah, let's get it done. That's usually my MO, but there are others where they just have to kind of flounder for a while. And watching them flounder for fucking years and years and years, it is draining. And then I do have to ask myself, like, at what point do I stop engaging in this drama? Yeah. You know, that filmmaker, Ingmar Bergman, there was a certain point in his life where he just gave up everything. Like, he retired from filmmaking and then he just went to the I think it's the Faroe Islands in Sweden, like off the coast of Sweden. I don't know. It's over there in like the Scandinavian areas. It's the islands, and he just like escaped onto this island to live a quiet life. And he said that he could not help but get caught up in the drama of the lives of people there too. And it just to me shows that part of the reason why we get caught up in the drama of life, whether it's our own or with others, is because it is entertaining. It is engaging. It does capture our attention. And I just keep asking myself, well, what is drama? Like, I think the word drama gets imbued with a touch of um, misogyny, because it's often associated with women, right? It's like, oh, there she goes. She's being a drama queen again. Like, here comes the drama. And it has to do with, like, when women voice their grievances or their outrage or concern, which is all valid. But if it's like when a woman does it, it's like, hey, shut up. You're being a drama queen. You're inviting drama. But to me, I see drama as they're just black lines on a blank page. They're just lines on a blank page. They're utterly neutral. And yet we feel something when it occurs, when they start to take place and take shape and take form. We feel something and then we have a reaction based on those feelings. And it's linked to whatever images that we have in our minds, linked to past memories or experiences that we project onto these lines that we now see in the present day. And that's what television and screens are. They're just little tiny lines. Millions and millions of tiny little lines That's all they are. But it's interesting how they get interpreted as, oh, this is something. Today's show is Divorce Attorney Shin, based on a webtoon of the same title written by Kang Tae-kyung. And the show follows an attorney named Shin Seung-han. All right, Shin Seung-han. 신성하다 in the Korean language. 신성하다 is an adjective which means holy. So Shin Seung-han, his name means holy. Like, he's got this holy aura about him. I mean, it's like he leads an ascetic life, doesn't he? Right? He leads a very disciplined life. He lives alone. He lives a life as an attorney, which is something he committed his life to by giving up his life as an artist. I mean, he used to be a piano player. That was his job. And he gave it all up to become an attorney. And he commits his life to this asceticism because he lost his younger sister to a tragedy, right? But he's a daffy fellow. Like, he colors grapes on a wall, right? And he plays the piano when he's drunk, and he's really great at it. He's brilliant at it, but he's also like ashamed of it. You know, it's like, oh, that's not me anymore, so stop trying to identify me as a piano player. He also loves trot music, and he sings it constantly. He listens to it very loudly, right? But Shin Sang-an is a guy who knows how to enjoy himself. That's what he is. He's a guy who knows how to live his life and enjoy himself. And then in the first episode, there's this woman named hye-jin, who is a TV and radio personality, and she has an affair with a man and is in the middle of a divorce, and she's seeking custody of her son. But hye-jin also has a sex tape that gets leaked by her lover. All right. And I've mentioned this, I think, before, but spy cams are a widespread problem in South Korea. And, you know, personally, I can't believe the kind of violence that a person is willing to enact on their lover. Okay? Like, having sex is an act of love. It's an intimate act. How are you going to go and film yourself and your lover without her consent or knowledge, and then leak that tape out into the world? I mean, what mindset, what's going on there? I don't understand that logic at all. And yet this is a rampant problem in South Korea. Anyway, like, this guy does this, and then what happens? Like, her ex-husband fucking takes that sex tape and then shows it to their child who is in grade school to manipulate him into hating his mother. I mean, it's just like the fucking decisions that these male adults make on this show are heinous. And it's so fucking triggering. I can't stand it. But I really love the scene when Shin Sang-an sits down with Lee-seojin's son, Hyunwoo, and Hyunwoo is like telling Sang-an, like, oh, I have these like images in my head that I just want to get out. And that's in reference to the sex tape of his mother that he's seen. And Shin Sang-an gets very real with him. He says, those images are not going to go away. Yeah, you have to learn to live with them. But he also says, but your mother loves you, and she wants to make things right with you. You know, like, he does bring in the hope. He gets real with the boy, but he also brings in hope. And I think the reason why Shin Sang-an is able to get real with this kid is because Shin Sang-an is also a trauma survivor. It's very obvious that he's a trauma survivor, right? That's why he colors grapes on a wall. That's why he plays the piano when he's drunk. And that's why he sings trot music, belts it out on the top of his lungs, and listens to it really loudly in his car and in his home. So in this regard, the show actually has an excellent message as to how to cope with your trauma. Do whatever it is that you need to do in order to elevate your mood. Do whatever it takes to feel better and to ground yourself, whether it's coloring grapes or singing and dancing to trot music or, you know, eating ramyeon, whatever it is that you need to do. Just go and do it, right? Like, wave your freak flag. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? This is what you need in order to feel good. So why stop yourself from doing it, you know? And it's like, after you start applying that logic to your life, it's unthinkable to not do them anymore. To not do the fun things, to not do the healthy things. It just becomes unthinkable after a while. So in this regard, like Shin Sang-han is a very interesting exemplary character. Like, oh, how does one live with trauma in a fulfilling way? And Shin Sang-han is that answer. He's also the direct opposite of Lee Seo-jin in a lot of ways because Shin Sang-han doesn't care that he's doing like a children's coloring book on the wall or singing trap music, which a lot of people would find to be cheesy or, you know, crass or weird, you know? But he doesn't give a shit. Whereas Lee Seo-jin gives a lot of shit. She is trapped under the spell of constantly glancing around and being concerned with other people's looks, being concerned with other people's judgments, right? And she's concerned that people might judge her for her infidelity. She's afraid that they might judge her for being a divorcee. She's afraid that they might judge her for being a victim of a sex crime. Okay? And in this groundbreaking book written by Dr. Judith Herman called Trauma and Recovery, she states very clearly that when a woman suffers sexual assault, she is not only a victim of sexual assault, but she will also become a victim of being outcasted by her entire community. Yeah, the community will always side with the aggressor or the quote unquote person in power because human beings are in general weak and they will always side with the more powerful, more aggressive person. Lee Seo-jin is somebody who is a victim, but her society doesn't treat her as such. Okay, and I really love the fact that this show follows through Lee Seo-jin's storyline because even though sex crimes happen to female celebrities very often, not only in South Korea but also in Hollywood, all around the world this happens, women who are disgraced publicly, we don't really know what happens to them afterwards. We don't really know what goes on in their personal lives, right? And in Lee Seo-jin's case, like, she's constantly worried about other people's judgmental looks and she shuts the world out. She shuts herself into the home and she shuts the world out. And there's a moment when she's online shopping for shoes for her son and she's like, "Oh, these shoes look comfortable." And then her son says, "How do you know that they're comfortable when we haven't tried them on?" And it's like this very poignant moment where he's alerting her to something. It's like, you keep projecting what people's judgments are about you, and you've preemptively decided that they're judging you harshly and criticizing you harshly, rather than actually putting yourself out there and seeing what people's reaction to you might actually be like. Furthermore, who gives a shit? I mean, who honestly gives a shit, right? Like, what happened to her sucks. What those men did to her is awful. I mean, that's not going to change, right? And some people are going to judge her. Some people are going to talk shit. Whatever. You know, it's like, just let it go. And her son says, please don't lose to your critics, right? I mean, the message is like, stop caring so much about what people think about you and your life. I watched John Mulaney's stand-up special, Baby J, this past week, and I thought it was brilliant because he just admits very flat out and openly. He was like, I cared so much about what people thought about me. And that was why he was a, drug addict, because he cared constantly about what people might think of him, and it made him so afraid that he needed drugs to cope with that. I thought the show writer did a really good job at pulling the thread on the anti-fan storyline, because Lee Seo-jin has this anti-fan when she starts doing YouTube videos, and this anti-fan wrote really harsh comments, telling her to go die or whatever. And it turns out it was written by some kid. Some teenage kid who is disgruntled because she is a victim of neglect from her parents. So she's just mad, right? That's why she went and wrote these harsh comments on Lee Seo-jin's YouTube channel. And I think this is applicable to literally the entire online community, literally to every one of us. All of us are a little kid who is throwing a tantrum. We're disgruntled about something. And when we go online and write comments with razors in them, we're doing it because we're unhappy about something that's not satisfying us. For instance, when the world flipped out over the whole Dalai Lama exchange with that little kid, which I didn't even know about until like people started posting it on social media, like because I don't read the news. And like a friend of mine was talking about it. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she told me what happened, and I was like, "Okay." But when the world flipped out over this exchange, right? And when people were reacting to the Dalai Lama and saying that he's a sex offender, all I'm hearing is those people who reacted that way, all of them are saying, I was sexually molested or I am a victim of sexual assault. That's what they're saying. When people say, oh, the Dalai Lama is a sex offender, they're all saying, I am a victim of sexual assault. And so it goes. The ego's reactionary moments, okay, like that comes out to say, I have this need, or I have this hurt, I have this pain, I have this injury. Yeah. And it's like we cloak it like it's a disguise to go and point fingers at strangers, essentially. We don't know the Dalai Lama personally, you know? Anyway, when we have these ego reactionary moments, I think it's all right to acknowledge that we're human and we're suffering. But it's also important to forgive ourselves for these ego moments and these ego tantrums, these human moments. I think it's okay to forgive ourselves. It's necessary to forgive ourselves. And then figure out what our needs are. Yeah. And then meet those needs on our own. Because writing nasty comments online, it's not going to fix that inner problem. It's not. It's just really not. If you think that is, no, it's not. It's not going to do anything. Really love the show, but the ratings were lousy, and I saw that the show has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes sense because it's an excellent show. But it's sad that it's only 12 episodes. And I noticed that it got cut. It was supposed to be 16, but it got cut. And I started to lose track of the storyline, like, especially towards the end, because the pacing was rushed. Yeah, they were cramming in a lot more in there than they could have, by cutting it down to 12 episodes. And it's a travesty that shows that are wholesome and real and good get cut. It's a fucking travesty. I can't stand it. I really love the show. I think it's great. And Cho Seung-woo, excellent actor, really fine actor. Fun fact, Cho Seung-woo used to date Kang Hye-jung, actress Kang Hye-jung. Kang Hye-jung is the lead actress in the movie Old Boy by Park Chan-wook. Yeah. And as we all know, Kang Hye-jung is now married to Tablo and is now the mother to Haru, who is a world-famous little girl because of the show Return of Superman. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was a fun fact to share. Yeah, Kang Hye-jung. Wow. What a dating track record you have, girl. My guest today is Ruby Bockmeier, who is an LA-based comedian. Very funny, very, very funny. And we have a really great talk. So let's talk to Ruby Bockmeier. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, Grace.
How are you this morning?
Good. What about you? Are you at your house?
I'm in my closet.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, during the like early part of COVID. Well, it's like December 2020. I was like, I should turn my closet into a sound studio.
Many people do that, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, like, do I wish I had more closet space? Yeah, but
Yeah, where
also
do you put your clothes?
most of them are in my giant suitcase that I that I leave. Yeah, and then like what
Okay.
it also forces me to like kind of Marie Kondo my life. Like I take stuff to Goodwill and yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You're poor.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, do you get attached to all your clothes and save shit? I kind of do.
Yeah, I have 3 bins in my closet that have clothes that I never wear or use, but I'm not gonna get rid of them, because you never know.
Yeah. Like, what is it that what are we waiting for? Right?
I don't well, it's like, what if you want that one item and you fucking toss it out and you're like, "That would have been the perfect item." You
I
never
know. And
know.
and you'll be thinking about it like that whole day. Like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I used to have it. It was right in my bin in my closet. I could have gotten it, but I threw it out."
Yeah.
And
See, we're avoiding that
yeah,
feeling.
I don't know. Some of it is also like I don't know if there are clothes that like stop fitting, then it becomes
Oh,
like
yeah.
this wish
That's all my
thing.
clothes. It's clothes that don't fit me, but I'm holding on hope that one day they will. I'm like, "Okay, perfect." It's yet to happen in my 29 years of living, but whatever. We'll see. Because if you fitted them, you're gonna want
Yeah.
something new, so it's
Yeah.
we're sick.
You never know. Like 29, that's like nothing. Like people change fucking like Adele, she like lost a bunch of
Yeah,
weight in her 30s. Like, some people lose a bunch of weight in their 40s or 50s. Like the
yeah.
people who transform their bodies in their 60s, who cares? Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm holding on to those fucking bends.
Yeah, as long as they bring you joy and hope,
They bring
whatever.
me hope. Not joy, but hope.
Okay,
Uh,
this is something that I was so curious about, and I was like,
mhm.
I gotta ask her. When did you change your name to Ruby?
So that was, like, in 2020 because it's my middle name, and my friends call me that, and so it's like a
Oh,
basically like a nickname and stuff, and so I was like, "Maybe I should just go by, like, Ruby because it's, like, my friends call me that, and I feel like I
yeah.
like it better, and, so then I did that, and then people thought and also I, lost a bunch of weight too, so people thought I was, like, transitioning 'cause they were like, and then I used to have blonde hair, now I have brown hair, so people were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so people just were like, "Oh, that's she's going through something." Like, yeah, and then it's, like, almost 3 years later, and, I still get looks sometimes that are like, and I'm gonna write it out for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because I was like, I swear to God, her name was Caitlin, but now it's Ruby,
See, people
and
think that, they have no idea.
it was like a mind fuck thing because
I
you kinda,
know.
like, ninja moved your way into this transformation of
I know,
Bockmeier 2.0.
I
Just
know,
that's all it is. It's literally like Facebook does an upgrade and we're like, "What the hell is going on?" Like, and
I
the
know.
people get outraged, but it's like there's nothing to be outraged about. It's just little changes.
Mhm, or a massive change, I understand, and, changing your name is psychotic, but, I mean, people just don't know. I always went by that, like, outside of, like,
Yeah,
comedy, it just they
yeah,
didn't know. So I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. You're actually, I admire the change because it sounds like you went from, like, your, legal name, Caitlin, which is like, but then it's like, no, you have the more colloquial name that people call you by that makes you feel good, that, like, your
Yeah,
favorite people address you by, and it's, like, more friendly and makes you feel closer, and now you want that to be your stage presence as well, like, you wanna fully embody that identity. I think I get it. Yeah.
well, and my grandma's name's Ruby, and so she likes to call me Little Rube, Little Ruby.
Aw,
I think that's so funny.
so
So,
cute.
yeah, maybe I'll go by Little Ruby now, I don't know, who knows?
Yeah,
Like,
little Ruby
pretty funny.
Bockmeier. Yeah, yeah,
Little
yeah,
Rube. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll just change it every 3 years and see if people
Yeah, yeah,
catch
yeah.
on.
Like, eternally fuck up people forever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll have no name, and it is what it is,
Okay,
pretty
good.
much.
Thanks for clarifying that because it was, like, haunting me for a while. I was like, what's happening? Like, did I hallucinate this other Caitlyn person? And, like, what's happening?" It was so
Yeah, see,
confusing
people
for a
get
while.
confused, and I just, like, never I'm just like, "Yeah, they can figure it out. It's fine."
Right, like, quote, unquote, "figure it out," meaning they're gonna make up stuff in their heads that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with your reality. Yeah, that's what's
Yeah, I'll
happening.
let them go crazy.
It's really fascinating how our human brain just does that. If there's no answer to something, we just make shit up, and
Mhm.
and then we believe it. It
Yeah,
becomes our reality. That's
yeah.
the fucked up thing. Like,
We're superheroes.
why are we left to just, like, do that, though? It's dangerous in a way. It's, like, almost irresponsible for our brains to do that, you know?
I know, but I guess you just I feel like I just never think about things, so then I just goes. I really don't put that much thought into a lot of things I do, so I don't have like people are always like, "Can you help me?" They're always asking, but if someone's like, "Yeah, I need to write a joke about this," I'm like, "I got nothing." I'm like, "Nothing's going on up here. You good luck." Like, I can't do it.
Godspeed, yeah, forever. No, I think you're such a great joke writer. I think you're so funny, and, no, I love your bit about, fucking is it Pepperdine University? Like, your
Oh
cousin who
yes,
goes there?
yes.
Okay, that university, what is up with that university? It is, to me, just my association of it, it is
Mhm.
so, like, it's like the school that, future Hollywood agents and executives go to, and they're all white WASP douchebags,
I know.
and and it's set in fucking Malibu, like, what?
Well, it's really weird because I went to visit my cousin there because really she, like, called me and, we never hung out. She's, like, 10 years younger than me, so we're not that close, but I went there to visit her. The campus is so far away, like, if you're coming from anywhere, like, on the east side, like, it's gonna take an hour and 10
Yeah,
minutes, like, it takes forever.
forever.
It's also so secluded, so, like, the only town is, like, Malibu or Santa Monica, but you have to have a car to get there, or
Yeah,
you could bike, but it's also just, like, I don't know, it's like a lot. And so
yeah.
I feel like it's like if you're not rich and have a car and balling out, like most college kids, especially freshman year, they don't have a car. They're like
Oh
living
my
on
god.
campus.
Oh
You're
my
like
god.
stranded. And then
Stranded.
but like I get like Brentwood's like a fun area to go out in, but it's like if you're in Pepper, it just seems like I mean it's a rich school, but it's small and it's just weird. Like when I got there, I was like, oh God. But
And they're very Christian, like, that's the other
yeah,
thing. They're,
yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
dogmatically Christian, that's the
Yeah.
scary thing.
It's not a party school. It's not like I feel like when I was like, "Oh, this isn't like a fun time." You know what I mean? Oh, this is like a little straight and narrow. Like people are playing foosball. That's like their Saturday night, you know? So it's not like you're not gonna get people falling off balconies like the good days in college. So it's just like, oh, it sucks. But
Yeah.
it's
Where
so
did you go
cute.
to school?
I went to Washington State University where that Idaho killer was going to.
Oh,
Remember that guy
nice.
that killed those 4 kids in Idaho?
I don't I don't really know much about serial killers in America, but now I
Well,
know, that's good to
this
know.
just happened. That's why it's crazy.
Oh.
So this
So
guy was going to my college studying, like, I think criminal law or
oh
something,
my god, he
and
was a student.
yes, but he
Oh,
was
no.
older. He was probably in his 30s, but my school's on the border of Idaho and Washington, so
Okay.
people it's like a freeway that's 8 miles, and you get
Yeah.
to the University of Idaho.
Okay.
So there are 2 colleges, like, right next to each other,
Yeah.
and people go to Idaho all the time for, like, I don't know, because 'cause we're out in the middle of nowhere, so it's just
Yeah.
like a next small town.
Yeah.
Um, and he went over there and killed, like, these 4 students in, like, their apartment or something, and it made national news. Everyone's talking about it.
Oh, shit. I don't read the
But
news or watch the news anymore, so that's why I missed it, but
yeah, it
okay.
was just, like, really our claim to fame as a
Yeah, it
university,
sounds like
so
it. It really,
so
put you guys on the map. Yeah,
it did,
put your
it
university on
did.
the map.
Yeah.
I I've been to Idaho. I went to Boise, like,
Mm.
2 years ago in the summer to literally vacation there,
Oh, yeah.
and
Boise's beautiful in the
it
summer.
was so beautiful, like,
Yeah,
massive, and, like, there's this place called Star Lake or something, and it was so epically gorgeous
yeah.
and expensive. I was surprised at
Oh.
how expensive Boise, Idaho was. Yeah. I thought, "Oh, it's
Well,
Boise, Idaho. It's gonna be, like everything's gonna be, like, 4 cents." But no, it was, like, as expensive as LA, if not more. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it is because people, like, now know about Boise and it's, like, a vacation spot. Like, Sun River is like
Yes.
that, and I feel
Yes.
like yeah, that's all they have, Idaho is Boise, you know? If they don't have that and they have, like, Aaron Paul, I don't know if you've seen his, like, cabin that he made outside of Boise. It's, like, this
Oh.
beautiful, like, home, and I feel like everybody who's rich that can that like skiing and stuff or, like,
Yeah.
lakes and rivers, like, they like to go to the Pacific Northwest West in general, but
Yeah.
people can't really handle the weather, I find. Like, they go, "Oh, yeah, I
Huh.
love it in the summer," but I'm like, "Okay, well, the other 10 months?" Literally, you get 2 months of good weather, and then 10 months, it's, like, raining the entire year, it's gray, it's not, like, a
Oh,
beautiful spot, so I'm just
I
like,
get it.
"Try
Okay.
it out."
So it's, like, kinda similar to, like, Seattle and, like, Portland a little bit with the gray
Yeah.
weather and stuff.
Well, yeah, and
Oh.
Boise gets a lot of snow, and it's, like, cold, it's, like, harsher, but, I mean, the Pacific Northwest in general is, like, dog shit weather until the summer, so it just depends what you like, I guess.
Yeah. And you grew up in California, right?
I grew up in Washington State, so on the border
Oh.
of Washington, Oregon, so, like, near Portland, Oregon, kind of.
Oh my god, I thought you grew up in Cali for some reason. Okay. Alright.
I guess I have that vibe.
I love, I actually love, like, that weather. I actually don't mind it. I remember, like, this past winter, like, when it was, like, sleeting and snowing and, like, raining in LA for, like,
Yeah.
weeks and I was, like, very happy. I was like, "Oh my god, love this rain." Like, I was like the
Yeah.
weirdo.
Yeah. I know, I like it too. I hate the heat, but, like, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, it's like 85 degrees outside.
It's so
I keep
hot today, yeah.
Yeah, I keep the AC cranking. But yeah, it's nice. The Northwest is nice. It's fine. I mean, I would never live there again, but it is nice.
Yeah, why would you not live there again?
There's nothing there. I mean, it's just like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a lot of it's like a it's just not. I don't know. I don't know where
Yeah.
else I'd live, but I think Portland is like whatever. Seattle is like I don't love Seattle either, but
Uh,
it's just like too city. It's a lot of suburbs and people drive into the city and like do
yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
I also hate Arizona. My mom lives in Arizona. Arizona's disgusting. I went to a psychic one time and she randomly goes, "What's up with Arizona? You don't like it?" I was like, "Wow, yeah, I really hate it." So good. So yeah, she's like, "Yeah, you need to visit your mom, but you just hate Arizona." I was like, "Yeah, I know. It sucks."
That's hilarious. I love when
Yeah,
psychics do that, that's the best.
I know. Something that's like not even like on my mind, and I was like, I guess I really have got hard feelings about Arizona.
Yeah, it's like that, like, once we make a certain decision about something, it just becomes part of our consciousness, subconsciousness, and then people like that can fucking read it out, and
I
it's
know.
so life becomes scary again. Life just becomes a fucking terrifying experience again. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Wait, where are you from?
I'm from New York. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we have extreme weathers in New York. Well, we have 4 seasons in New York, and
Yeah, that's nice.
all of them are kind of extreme if you think about it. Like, spring is just pollen, like, insanity. Like, the all the cars get covered with light green from the pollen in the air, and, in the winter, like, we get blizzards, and in the fall, it's, like, obnoxiously beautiful, it's, like,
Yeah,
super gorgeous colors everywhere, and everybody's, like, high on it, and everybody's happy to be wearing light jackets again, like, everybody's
yeah.
cozy in the fall, and
What
then the
part of New York?
summers are humid as hell. I grew up in Brooklyn and in Rockland County. Rockland
Mm,
County was definitely a culture shock for me because it's, like how do I compare it to? It's like going from LA to, I don't know, like, I don't know, Orange County. Yeah, it's like going from LA to Orange County. So I was just
okay.
like, "Whoa," it's, like, very, like, Irish waspy and,
Mhm.
um, like, racist. It's
Yeah.
just like it was a culture shock. Yeah, yeah, super
Yeah, I
white.
believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
But
kind of the Northwest is. It's just a lot of white people, you know?
I did notice that, like, especially whenever I go to Portland and I do stand up, I just notice the white guilt is so intense in Portland. Like,
Yeah.
the laughs that you get for telling any remotely ethnic joke is, like, 4 decibels higher, and it's like, what are they overcompensating for? It's, like, very funny, like, when I go
It's
and
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all white people. Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy. There's like there's some like Russians and Ukrainians and then that's about it. Like it's like pretty we're all white there.
I
So
love that the Russians and Ukrainians are the most ethnic that you can
yeah, they
get it.
were. Yeah. And we're like, "Whoa." And then, like, there's no Jewish people, like, LA is the first time I ever saw Jewish people. I was like, "Well, that's different," you know? Like, you just don't yeah, there's nobody up there.
Yeah, I guess there are not a lot of Jews, like, in Oregon, huh? That's weird and
No.
funny. But I think, Oregon's beautiful though, like, just yeah, and Seattle, like, Washington is beautiful too because you do get weather, and so there's a lot of greenery and, like, nature-wise, it is epically gorgeous, just like Idaho, and,
Yeah,
I mean, the one thing I give to white people is, like, they're good at colonizing beautiful places, It's like,
yeah,
they see a beautiful spot and they're like, "Oh, that's beautiful. It's mine now."
yeah.
Like,
We
they've
did
always
that
been
in
good at
Northwest.
that.
Mhm. It was great. Lewis and Clark, he's our homie.
Okay, so Washington, alright, that's dope. Like, this whole, like, not feeling quite at home at the places, like, you live in. That's something I kinda empathize with. 'Cause, like, I don't know if about you, but I have this, like, maybe a romantic feeling or romantic longing that I will one day find the place that feels like absolute home to me, and I will settle there forever. You know, it's, like,
Mhm.
similar to, like, when guys are, like, in their no, like, when guys reach a certain age and they become disillusioned by life, they go like, "I wanna just buy a ranch somewhere and, like, farm and stuff," you know? They wanna become a
Yeah.
cowboy all of a sudden. I think that's why there's so many, like, cowboy supply stores, like, in, like, fucking Sonoma and, like, Napa Valley and shit, because they wanna go and fulfill that life. But it's like that for me, but with, like, a city potentially. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, one day you'll find it, who knows? I mean, honestly, I just have it's probably wherever you can afford a house at this point, who fucking knows? I don't know.
That's a big factor too. I mean, yeah, LA's getting more and more expensive, like, constantly. It's insane. Like, the place I live in right now, the rent is, like I moved in here l late 2019, and
Mhm.
then the rent was, like, 1,300, and it's not a big place. It's a fucking studio, it's not the nicest whatever, but it's got everything I need.
Yeah.
That rent has gone up $300, and now for
Y
this tiny fucking crappy place, it's $1,600.
Yeah, see, that sucks, and they haven't even, like, probably renovated it or anything. That's a
It's,
bummer.
like, more or less the same, yeah. Is that
Yeah.
your cat? You have a cat?
Oh, yeah, that's Dewey.
Hi, Dewey.
Dewey, that's
I
him.
didn't
That's not my cat, it's my I live with that cat, but it's my roommate's.
Oh,
But, yeah,
got it.
he's
That's
like he
nice
has
of
no
you.
nose. Yeah, I know. Oh, I live with my best friend, so she's like family, but Dewey's just,
I
I'm not
get it.
really I'm not an animal person per se, but, I deal with
Yeah.
him. I don't bother him, he doesn't bother me, and we're fine.
Okay. Got it, yeah.
Dewey.
You got
Okay.
peace. Yeah, yeah. No, like, years ago, this was in New York, my roommate was a college roommate, and she was a dog walker, but her dog walking coworker, his girlfriend was like, "Oh, she's gonna move in with me. I have cats, and she has a cat, but my cats don't get along with her cat. So can you take care of her cat for a few months?" is what he said to my roommate. And I was like, what does he mean by a few months?" And then
Yeah.
they just kept it vague, few months, and it turned into a year and a half, and it ruined my relationship with my roommate. Yeah,
That's insane. I would fucking never do that. That's nuts.
I hated that cat. It was not
Yeah.
and it's not because I hate cats. Cats are fine, but it's like it's what the cat represented.
Yeah. No, that's fucked up. I would have given the cat away or something. I'm like, "If you don't take this fucking cat, I'll fucking, put it on the side of the road."
'Cause it was like she was like one of these people that just can't confront anybody about anything, you know?
Yeah, it's
It's like
annoying.
he said a few months, which is vague. A
Mhm.
few months can be 3 months to 36 months, you know?
Yeah, apparently. Jesus Christ,
And
that's crazy.
and I was like, "When are you gonna, like, bring the cat back? Like, doesn't the owner miss her cat?" Like, that was even more fucked up. It's like
Where were they?
they abandoned in New York somewhere, like, in Queens or Brooklyn or some other fucking not that far. It was in the same they never came to visit the cat. I was just like and the cat was it's not like the cat was, young, like, this woman lived with that cat for 7, 8 years or something.
Did she pay her for, like, the cat food and stuff?
No.
Okay, that's
The cat also
psychotic.
had anxiety, so, like, we had to put pills, like, in the food that we gave the
To
cat, like,
knock it out or something.
anxiety medicine. I guess cats have anti-anxiety medicine. I'm just like, how would you diagnose anxiety in a cat? And then why
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I feel about that, like, when it comes to emotional conditions of animals, because like, how do you get their consent? What if they want to
Being anxiety driven?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd. I don't yeah, I'm not down for that. I have no problem telling someone, "No, thank you. No, thanks. That's crazy. No, don't wanna do that." Like, no,
That's
no, no.
crazy. It
I know,
is.
that is nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I look back on that and I'm like, maybe I should have handled it better, but also I'm just like, no, I couldn't have done it any better because I hated that fucking cat.
Yeah. That's hard when you live with an animal you don't like, that's fucked up. I mean,
It
Dewey's
is.
fine, like, he's I'm like trying to
She's
yeah,
very
he's like
chill. Yeah.
yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's just hairy, that's the only thing.
Cats are interesting like that, like, they're curious. I don't know, I kind of, empathize, like, I could relate. I don't know if you feel like this sometimes,
You
but,
feel like a cat.
yeah, like, when, people are, like, excited and, like, they start talking about something and I just kinda feel like, "Oh, like, whatever they're talking about, like, doesn't sound that exciting. Why are they overreacting?" But at the same time, it's like, I kinda wanna be in the vicinity of that energy a little bit, like, there's some excitement
Mhm.
there, but I don't wanna
Yeah.
be involved and participate. Does that make sense? That's a bit
Yeah,
cat
that is a
energy, like
cat. That is cat
yeah,
energy for sure.
yeah,
I get that.
but I don't know. I feel like I need to work on it, you know? It's a bit antisocial behavior. Yeah, I need to work
I
on
think
it.
we need more antisocial behavior, honestly. People get too comfortable too quick. I'm like, learn how to have boundaries. Like, Jesus Christ, don't fucking say hi to me. You don't know me. You know, it's like God, Jesus. I feel like girls just like come up to me and they fucking tell me their life story. I'm like, hello, like you God, you know, like do you have any friends you
Yeah,
can talk to? It's so I hate
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I think
Well,
people need
yeah.
to keep it to themselves.
A lot of comics do that too. That's kind of like the downside of what we do is like comics lack that, ability to
Yeah,
filter.
yeah, that's true. And then it's like, well, you're crazy. You know? And it's like that's why I hate whenever you're like
Yeah.
at the improv or something and you see people, they're like, how are you? What's new? I'm like, oh nothing. And then they fucking tell me what's new for their life. I'm like, I said nothing. So that was code for you to say nothing. You know, like we're not gonna have a conversation. Come on. Like Jesus Christ. And then they just like go on. I'm like, oh my fucking God. It
Oh,
sucks.
good. No, you seem to live a pretty, like, fun like, in terms of fun, you seem to have, like, a very healthy, thing going, because like, I see, like, you go to concerts, like, you go to live shows, like, you go to events, like, you
That's
seem
a
to
you know what's funny is a lot of comics come up to me and tell me that. They're like, "Oh, where are you going next? We were just here today." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess I do a lot of things." I'm like, "Are you guys just like fucking weirdos that like don't do anything or like have
No.
other friends?" You know? I mean, I would
Yeah.
never do anything unless my friend like I just have weird friends that like to do stuff and they like make
Ah,
me go. Like it's
got
not like
it.
I'm planning these things, like I just
Yeah.
have to go because they want me to go, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I guess.
I understand that. I remember you saying this because I wanted you to be in my lineup when I was headlining at the Improv, and you
Oh
were like,
yeah.
"My friends are taking me somewhere. It's so annoying, but I have to go." And I'm like, "Okay, enjoy. It
Yeah.
sounds like a fun trip."
Well, because I say no all the time to them, like, on the daily, like, with, like, hanging out because 'cause I'm, like, going to mics or, like, shows or whatever, so, like,
Yeah.
when they like to try like, my friends have their own business and they don't work all the they literally work 3 days a week, so, like, they go everywhere,
Yeah.
and so they always, like, are, like, planning trips and, like, certain trips that, like, we're going to the Grand Canyon in July, and it's, like,
Wow.
a $4,000 trip to go fucking 8 days in the Grand Canyon, it's, like, insane, and
Yeah.
if I didn't go, they would literally scorch my head off because 'cause we've been planning it for 2 years, and
Yeah.
I have to go. So now I'm, like, working weekends at, like, catering events to just fucking, like, afford to go to this fucking 8-day camping trip, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Jesus Christ." Yeah, so I like it's things like that that I have to do, but it will be fun, but it's just like
It sounds like it will be epic. It will be worth it. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean
I've done it before, that's the thing. I did it for my mom's 60th
oh.
birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I took my best friend who I live with, and she's like, "Oh my god, we need to do this with all our friends, and we'll be drinking on the raft. It's gonna be so fun." Da da da. And so then she made like all these 14 people sign up 2 years in advance, and now everyone's like, it's like 3 months away, and everyone's like, "Oh my god," you know. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, this friend of yours sounds really, really, like they sound like the kind of person that you would want for precisely things like this. Because I would
Hmm.
hate to be this planner. I would
Oh,
lose
me
my
too.
fucking head. I would be screaming at everybody and blow my own head off. Like, it sounds so stressful. But there are some
Yeah,
people who
and
thrive on this kind of thing.
yeah, she's a planner. She likes to plan squad functions, so it's like you just gotta show face, you know? I'm good at, like, a function, like, I'll clean the kitchen for you, I'll take out your trash, I'll pick up the ice. I just don't wanna, like, have to talk to everybody, you know? So I'll just, like I'll be
Yes,
busy in the kitchen while people are mingling, like, I don't really feel like I wanna, like,
exactly.
talk, you know? So
Exactly. I 1,000% understand that. When my
Mhm.
friend has a barbecue and I like barbecues just 'cause I like smoky food. I like it.
Mm.
I like a good grill, and I like the food out of the grill. That's literally why I like a barbecue. I don't like a barbecue
Yeah.
for all the other things that come with it, which is, like, strangers or friends of friends, and they wanna all talk like, "Who are you? What do you do? What do you
Yeah.
do?" And it's like, "Stop asking me what I do. I don't know what the
I
fuck I do. I stress
I
myself out
know.
every day wondering what I do. So, don't ask me," you know? So, what I do is I stand by the grill and I grill for hours, and I'm
Oh, nice.
so happy there. I'm like, "Don't ask me for anything, don't touch me. I will cook all your food and put it on that tray, and you go and get the food from that tray, but you leave me the
Yeah.
fuck alone. Like, this is a sacred space, me and my fire, that's it." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you still teach?
No. No. I stopped, uh, any UCLA or university activity in 2021. Like,
Oh, wow.
I was like, "Done." Yeah, it's not for me. It's not that I hate, teaching. I don't like all the bullshit that comes with teaching, like university hierarchy, university politics,
Mhm.
like students that come to universities, not all of them, but a great majority of them are a little crazy because they spend way too much money on education and they're all fucking terrified and stressed out, and so are their
Yeah.
parents. So they come
Yeah.
in all disgruntled, wanting to start shit with any professor that they're, like, unhappy with or you know, so it just turns into, like, a fucking shit show, and I'm just like, I'm not down with any of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice you got out, so it's been a while, that's cool.
Yeah, it's still getting out of my system if I'm totally honest with you. It's like, I don't know. Did you, like, grow up at a church or anything?
Not really, no.
Okay, you're lucky. Like, I was, like, brought up in a Protestant church since elementary school because my dad had a DUI and he became a born again Christian,
Oh,
and
nice.
it just sucked. Like, I have,
Yeah.
like, severe PTSD from church. It's to the point where when I watch a show I was talking about this with, like, some other people, but, like, if a show has, like, church scenes where the
Uh-huh.
congregation's, like, singing and praying, I have to fast forward it or leave the room because it's so
Oh,
triggering.
wow. Because it's
Yeah.
so boring when you're there. Yeah, I know. Every kid hates church. I'm like, I've never met a kid that loves going to church. I fucking yeah, it's like the worst thing ever.
Well, it is I mean, yeah, some of the, like, listening to the preacher talk can be boring, but it was more the environment. It was such a stressful actually, now that I'm saying this, it's making me realize, like, what I avoid. It's the stressful environment that the people create. So it's, like, the same
Mhm.
as, like, a barbecue or a university or a church. It's that people come. People are
Yeah.
there, and when people gather, craziness happens, like, all this pathology surface, and I don't wanna be anywhere near it, and it's
Yeah.
like the church I used to go to was, like, a Korean church, and Koreans are all fucking crazy because of their bullshit, and, it was, like, scarring, and I was like, "Ugh, never." As soon as I
Yeah.
turn
My
18, I'm gone, and I was.
you're like, "Deuces." Well, my grandma Ruby is a huge Christian, and I remember going to church with her, like, as a kid, and she'd be, like, putting her hands up in the sky crying, and I'm like, "Grandma, you're embarrassing me. Stop crying. Put your hands down." She was just like she was like, "It's the Lord." I'm like, "God." I was, like, so embarrassed. I was like, "This is so humiliating." Ugh. I'd be, like, so I would hated it. I was like, "Get it together," you know? It's like old people shit, like, God. So,
But
she's, like, feeling
she's
it, I'm like,
doing it in the right setting, like, that's what they do in a church, like, at least she wasn't doing it, like, in a parking lot or at the mall or at a restaurant, like
"Oh, she's prayed at a restaurant and shed some tears," and I literally have to look down, like, I'm like, "Oh my God." It's like, "We're at a Chili's, grandma, what the fuck?" You know? Like, Jesus, the Lord is not in the Chili's at this moment, like, God, so weird, but
Yeah. Oh, so
I
she
guess
was
it's
like a
the
hardcore Christian, like, prays at every meal
yeah.
kinda deal.
Yeah, she would,
I
yeah,
see.
and then one time it
Yeah.
was Christmas time and she made us, like, pray before we opened presents and everybody started laughing, like, during the prayer. like, everybody, and it was so awkward. She got her feelings hurt, and she went to her room, and so we opened up presents without Grandma Ruby, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, Grandma." It was just funny, you know? We just felt so awkward. We're like, "Okay."
Okay, clearly Grandma Ruby's had some trauma. Clearly
Yeah.
Grandma Ruby suffered a lot, like, she's been through some shit
Yeah,
because
she I think so. I think
yeah, she
so.
needs the Lord on a constant, you know? To
Yeah,
me, that's all it is, yeah.
she just wants to go to heaven, and I'm like, "Grandma, I think you're gonna get there, you know? It's gonna be fine." She used to be addicted to soap operas and gambling, and she used to be an alcoholic, so she's lived a fun life.
Oh
Um,
my god,
but
amazing.
now she just goes on Facebook and posts, like, 40 times a day, like, Christian memes and watches Hallmark,
Yeah,
so
she found a new addiction. It's a
she
different
did.
addiction. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love that she went through these phases, or did they all happen at once? The alcoholism, gambling, and the soap
Different
operas?
different stages, yeah. One
Different
time for spring
phases.
break, we went to the Oregon Coast, and there's a casino there,
Yeah.
and my grandma Ruby lost all her money to pay for the hotel. It was, like, thousands of dollars because my grandma was, like, bawling, and then she lost all this money, and then I think she had to go back to the casino the next day, and she won it back. But my mom
Oh, good.
recently told me that story, and I thought that was so funny. I was like, "Wow, she really is a she's a bad
Amazing.
bitch on the
Yeah,
slots. My
that
god."
is that is some bad bitch energy. See, I think that's the addictive part. You feel like a
Mm.
bad bitch when you're on a high, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the, like, wobbly thing. It's like, you could end up feeling like the biggest fucking loser too, by literally
Yeah.
losing all of it in an
I
instant.
know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
Huh. Who was I'm
Interesting.
so this woman's fascinating. Wait, who was she married to? Like, what did her husband do?
My grandma was married to this guy named Merlin, who was my grandpa, and he died,
Merlin.
like, forever. Yeah, Merlin, and he was, like I don't he wasn't in a gang, but he was, like they got divorced at one point and then got back together and married again, so
Oh my god. She's
and
such
then
an
my
addict. Like, everything
yeah.
is, like, the most addict behavior ever. Okay.
Well, it's funny because she had my mom and my uncle, so my grandma had 3 kids with my grandfather, and then they got
Uh-huh.
divorced,
Uh-huh.
and then she got remarried, and so my mom thought her dad was this guy, and then my grandpa comes back in the picture, and she's like, "Wait, that's my dad?" And my grandma's like, "Yeah, that's your real dad." It's like, "What?"
Oh
And
my
then,
god.
yeah, but he was like a meat cutter at a grocery store for a long time. I mean, they were so fucking old, so, like, he was like a meat cutter at a grocery store, and my grandma was also working with him, but, like, they got married when they were, like, 18 and then divorced at 24 and then back together, and it's just, like, a whole thing.
Mhm.
They were both, like, alcoholics, and then they got into
Mhm.
AA, and then they
Mhm.
would have, like, homeless people who with, like, addiction problems come live at the house with
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and they travel over and, like, preach about AA to people or something.
Uh-huh.
And they each had, like, crazy amount of siblings, like 12 siblings each. It was just, like, a different time. They're, like, very old. Like, my grandma's,
So
like, 80
yeah.
something.
So they were
Like,
also
old.
neglected because they came from a huge family.
Yeah.
Were they, like, farmers, like, farmer children and stuff, or just
I
Catholic
I
or whatever?
I I think my grandfather was, and then my grandma was actually my mom says that she was a spoiled kid. She had, like, a pet monkey and, like, a
Got
pony.
it. Got it.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
she was a
"Oh."
spoiled kid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then she met my grandfather who's, like, this badass like, I think he kinda looked like, in Grease,
Yeah.
you know,
Got it. Mhm. The
the
leather
guys in Grease.
jacket, the
That's
rugged
wh
kinda
the
bad boy
yeah,
look.
that's what he looked like. So I think
Got
my
it.
grandma was a little slut and, like, went for the bad boy. And then they loved to drink together, and then they broke up, and then love found a way, and they were back together. And I thought they were, like, the coolest couple when I was younger.
Yeah.
Um, and then, he died, and she kinda lost her pizzazz. I was like, I think grandpa was really the cooler one." He was like I think he, like, drove a Corvette and stuff and, like, was really cool, and then
Yeah.
he would smoke cigarettes every day and play solitaire, and he was just, like, a
Yeah.
fucking G. And then my grandma just has gone downhill ever since. Just, you know, now she's like fucking Jesus every night, I swear to God. She's like that's
Yeah.
her dream man.
I love it. Thank you. That's such a good story. I love your grandparents' story. That's beautiful. Uh, yeah, no, it's actually like a fantasy, isn't it? For people to, like when they're younger, when you're younger, you're like a different version of who you are, right? Like
Mhm.
that's not who you are. But you fall in love with somebody, you think you're in love, you think this is forever, but then, people grow, people change. It's inevitable. And then it's like, I don't know who I fucking married. Like, I'm not this person,
Yeah.
you're not that person. They break up. Years later, it's like, oh, they find each other again. There is something very romantic about that in a way, in a way.
Yeah.
Um, but also
I
like you have to
know.
wonder, it's like, how? Because like, there was a change, but then did they morph back? Is it a regression, or did they both change progressively and then meet in another thing? It's like a funny thing.
Yeah, I think it is funny, and especially back then, I don't think getting divorced was popular, so I think that was kinda crazy, and then you remarry right away, I think because of shame or whatever, you need help raising kids,
Mm,
and then I guess my grandpa just came back in the photo picture, and he was
yeah.
like, "What's up?" But
Yeah.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
always thought it was funny because my grandma was always way bigger than my grandpa, so my grandpa's, like, this skinny guy, and my grandma's Ruby's, like, a big bitch. Just thought it was so funny, and then one time we were at Disneyland together, and my grandma's, like, big spooning my grandpa, and I thought it was so cute. I was like, "Oh my god,
I love
Gran
that.
Grandpa Merlin gets down with the big bitches," you know? It was like, wow, so funny. It's just, like, hilarious. So, I
Oh my
always thought
god.
that was great.
I'll never get over the fact that his name's Merlin. Your grandmother's name's
Merlin!
Ruby. It's like a like a gemstone, you know? It's like
Her last name's
mysticism, mysticism.
Stoner. My her It's Ruby Stoner. That was her maiden name, and I think that's so funny. I'm like, "What did your fucking parents do?" You know? So, I just think and Stoner is just amazing, so,
That is
yeah.
amazing. Oh my god. I don't grandparents are just funny. It's like they're funny because they're not our parents, you know? Like, for me, it's
Mhm.
like I'm trying to get to a point where I can laugh at my parents more. It's like I'm slowly getting there, you know? It's a thing. It's a journey. But, like, with my grandparents, whatever they do to my mom, it's, like, shitty when I hear it or see it, but it's
Yeah.
also like, if I were my mom. But from my perspective, it's hilarious. Like, even
Yes.
though I know what they're doing is shitty to her, I can't help but laugh my ass off, like, when my grandfather acts like a dick, you know?
I
'Cause
know.
it's funny.
I know, and it's like my grandma Ruby lives with my mom, like, she lives in, like, a little, like, side house or something in
Yeah,
Arizona, and
yeah,
my mom cannot stand my grandmother. It's, like,
of course,
crazy.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"Mom, if we ever get like that, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Like, I just wanna let you know, like, you will be going in a home, and I will fuck you up. Like, like, we are not gonna get like that. I will fucking kill you." And she was like, "Yeah, please kill me if I ever treat you like that." It's like, God. But
Yeah.
maybe I don't know, maybe you just end up hating your mom or something when you're older. I don't know, it's weird, who knows? Or you just can't stand each other.
Oh, it's funny that you say you end up hating your mom because I'm like, "Wait, don't you start hating your mom, like, way sooner?" Like, way
See,
earlier.
yeah, like, me and my mom when I was a kid, I was such a bitch. I have such guilt for how fucking rude I was to my mother, and she was, like, so sweet to me, like, if she asked me to do anything, I'm
Uh,
like, "Oh, yeah, okay," and, like, I was seriously such a bitch, and
okay.
she was so smaller than me, like,
Mhm.
I'm 5'11", my mom's, like, 5'2", so, like,
Oh, wow.
I
You're a
would, like, have her.
giant.
Yes,
Yeah.
uh-huh, like, we wouldn't get in physical fights, but, like, I would just make it known that I could fuck her up, and then she wouldn't back down, and my brothers are just watching, I'm like, "Jesus Christ, you're such a bitch to mom." I'm like, "Yeah," you know? And so now I'm like, "I, like, love you all, I'm so sorry," but then I feel like
Uh,
it could get back to that, like, when you're, like,
yeah.
3, you know?
Like, you don't know until like, with me, I had to figure it out. I was like, "What's the cutoff where my patience runs out with them?" And it's like, I could have lunch with them, and then if everybody's still in good spirits, I could have up to dinner with them. But I have to go sleep in my own place, they have to go sleep in their own place, and I cannot see them the next day.
When's the last time you guys have had to stay in the same place together, like, sleep overnight?
Oh, like,
Like
years ago. But I did when I was traveling in Boise, actually 2 years ago, it was with my mom.
mhm.
It was, like, the first time I was traveling with her in years. Yeah, and, I had a mental fucking breakdown during that week. I lost my shit. Um, we were in Boise for 2 nights, and then we went to Portland, Oregon for a few nights, and as
Uh-huh.
soon as the plane landed in Portland, I felt like my soul just feel like this relief because I was like, "Oh my god, there's weed everywhere." Like, there's
Yeah,
marijuana everywhere. And so I just felt like this relief take over, and I as soon as, like, we checked into a hotel, I was like, "Mom, you and I are walking to a dispensary right now together."
that's so funny. Your parents just visited, right? Like a few months ago or something?
Yeah, they were here in February or yeah, they were in February, so I saw them in February, and
Yeah,
that
but
was
they're in their
a
own hotel.
wacky month. Yeah, they were staying with friends, like, way out in the boonies somewhere, so
Mm,
that also helped. I was like, "Oh, there's distance," like, they're, like, an
mhm.
hour and a half they're, like, 99 miles away, so good. Like, there's
Oh,
distance. It's like
yeah.
yeah, they were over in, like, San Bernardino, like, way out
Okay.
there. Yeah, where it's beautiful, and they liked it, so that's good, but
See, I like a sleepover. I like to be uncomfortable in those situations. Like, I like everybody just fucking, pressurized in a little can and just to see what happens. Because 'cause I'm chilling. I'll just fucking sit there and, like, watch like, I don't know. I just think it's so funny. Like, I visit my mom in Arizona and I have to stay there, and it's like my mom, my stepdad, my grandma, and then my brother and his kids and all them, and everyone's fucking going crazy. Like, you can see
yeah.
everybody just breaking down throughout the
Yeah, yeah.
weekend. And
Yeah.
including me, but I don't know, something about that I just think the bonding is just priceless, you know?
It is.
Everyone hates each other, it's really
Yeah.
funny.
It is. No, but that is, like and everybody, like, loves one another, and that is what creates the funny shit, like, that's what ends up in, like, fucking Home Alone and, like, the family stuff, like, those are the little moments that end up becoming these, like, stories later for film and TV and whatnot, and there
Yeah.
is something, like, cherishable about that. I think it really depends on who the individual is and, like, have they gotten over
Mm,
whatever shit, Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I get it, I get it, and it's like the complexity that you have to appreciate. Have you seen that film, The Glass Castle?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I knew nothing about this movie. It came out like 5, 6 years ago, and the cast is really impressive, like, Woody Harrelson is in it,
Okay,
um oh my god, who was the mother? Oh, Naomi Watts? Like, Naomi Watts and Woody Harrelson play, like, a couple, and they have children, and it's, like, this family dysfunction situation, and I was it's a really good film, but, like, Rotten Tomatoes didn't really like it, they gave it, like, 60 or something, but, yeah, it's based on a book by this New York Times journalist, and she wrote about her life, but, yeah, I think you'd appreciate it. I don't know if you like films, but
I did.
yeah.
Sure, who doesn't like a movie?
There are a lot of people who don't like movies. Like, I don't know,
Really?
like, actresses or actors, yeah, like, in LA, when I meet actors and actresses, I can't talk to them about cinema. They don't know anything about movies. They never watch movies, and I'm like, "How are you an actor?" They'll "My favorite movie is," like they'll mention some movie from the 1940s, like, one movie. It's like, "That's it." And I'm like, "What?" And they're
That
like, "I
is
haven't
really
seen a
weird.
movie since." Yeah, but
That's
yeah, okay, good.
annoying.
I think you might appreciate this film.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
it's a good movie. Okay. Well, let's get into flashcard series because I do this on all of my podcasts with all of my guests, and
Okay.
all my guests love it because it's a fun time.
Okay, exciting.
Yeah. So, uh, it's based on a show called Divorce Attorney Shin, which is a K-drama currently on Netflix, and, I quite love this show. It's very, like it's got humor and heart and you know, a nice healthy balance between yeah, and pathos. It's got some drama too, so I
Okay.
really liked it. It didn't do so well ratings-wise, and that's why it only has 12 episodes. That's how you could tell if a K-drama was successful or not. If it has up to 16 episodes, then it's been doing decently. If it has, like, 21 or more than 20 episodes, it was, like, fucking kicking ass. But if it has
Okay.
only 12 episodes or 12 episodes usually, that means they cut it. It's like, "Okay, like, we're taking this shit off the air. It's not paying, So goodbye. So that's what happened to
Okay.
this show, unfortunately, but I think it's a fabulous show. So, okay. I'm basically gonna ask you, like, what would you do if you were this character in this situation?
Okay.
And you just riff, like, whatever comes to you. All right?
Okay, perfect.
All right, so let's say you're a TV news anchor and radio DJ named hye-jin, and you have a son who is in grade school, and you're married to a man who is so controlling of you that
Mhm.
you have to take selfies of yourself with whoever you're with multiple times throughout the day to, like, notify him of what you're doing with your life or your day all day. Not only that,
Hot.
he keeps track of your underwear
Okay.
and, like, counts them, knows the designs and patterns because he needs to know, like, what it is that you're wearing out for that day, alright? He's, like, obsessive and controlling and possessive, alright? So,
Okay.
in order to find release from the stress and the hell of living with this psycho, you
Uh-huh.
start, as one would, you start having an affair with a younger man who is also a restaurant worker, okay?
Okay.
Uh But what he does what this restaurant worker dude, what he does is he films you 2 having sex without your knowledge or consent, and then
Okay.
leaks that tape on the internet, and it goes viral. What do you do?
Huh. Oh, wow. Is this like what happened in the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably well, first off, I kinda love that the husband does that. I'm like, wow, I feel like for the first 3 years, you'd feel like the sex is probably amazing and it's probably really hot, so I would, like, be into that, but
Yeah.
I get it, like, let's say where you're 6 in marriage and it's, like, really clingy at this point,
Yeah.
the fucking selfies, and then I'm having and restaurant workers, that's sexy in itself because 'cause they're, like, they work nights, they have, like, a
Mhm.
then they go out and they get fucked up and, like, and then they sleep until, like, 1 p.m. and they go to work, so I get the miss like, that'd be fun, okay, and
Yeah.
this guy took a sec oh, well, I'd hope the video was really good, like, I'd hope I'd be getting money off of it,
Yeah.
and my husband would probably hit me when he found out. I feel like he probably fucked me up a lot, and I would feel like I deserved it a little bit, but he would probably beat the shit out of me, and he'd probably have to go to jail, and
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
I'd probably have to then I think it'd be over just then and there unless I really loved him, but
Hmm.
he would definitely abuse me, and then then he'd go to prison, and then we would probably get a divorce, and I feel like that would help me get a divorce. So I feel like the leaked video will be a, blessing in disguise, and then
Yeah.
I'd probably want
Yeah.
to beat up the restaurant worker. I'd probably shoot him in the
Yeah.
leg or,
What?
like, take his knives, restaurant knives.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually a really, actually, that's a very healthy and positive way to look at it, like, the fact that you're like, "Oh, this horrifying event is actually, like, a course corrector in my life, like, upturning
Yeah.
everything." And, yeah, that's actually really great. Okay, okay, well, let's say you're the same woman, alright? You're still
Okay.
Seojin, okay? You're stuck in a custody battle while divorcing your husband due to your infidelity and sex tape, but
Mhm.
you find out that your ex-husband showed footage of your sex tape to your 8-year-old son to turn him against you. What do you do?
Oh, that's so sad for the 8-year-old. I wonder if he watched it or if he looked away, I don't know. Okay, what do? I would probably talk to my son about it, and I would be like, "Okay, listen, mama has needs, whatever. Your dad fucked me up. I I mean, I would probably beat the shit out of my husband, to be honest. I probably
Yeah,
would take everything to not, like, get physical with
yeah,
him.
yeah,
And I guess realistically, you would just have to take it to court and be like, "This is what he did." But I just feel like this my husband has a lot of power, and I'm just getting fucked left and right from, like,
mm,
every angle at this point. And I think that I'd lose my job because 'cause I'm a news anchor, right? Yeah.
mhm,
So I would
mhm.
be probably suicidal. I would not be in a good spot, and I feel like I would have to be put into a rehab facility or something. I think I'm going into a mental institution. I think that's what's gonna happen. I mean, fuck, I don't know. That sucks. My son thinks I'm a whore, and he thinks like, now I'm gonna lose my son. That would really suck. I don't know.
Uh,
I wouldn't be doing well.
okay, great, great, great. Alright, this is the perfect show for you. Okay, okay. Let's say let's say you're a 50-something-year-old woman now, all right? Your name is Eran, and you have 2 daughters and a husband, right? You
Okay.
take care of your family, your unemployed husband, you take care of your daughters, your mother-in-law who lives upstairs from you, all right? You're the homemaker and caretaker. On top of that, you spend all day, all of your time running errands as the building super, all right? That building belongs to your mother-in-law, and you do all the super work, all right? Like a toilet's
Okay.
clogged, pipe is burst, you gotta go and take care of it, all right? You do all of this for no pay, but your mother-in-law belittles you constantly. She calls you stupid, lazy, fat. She calls you all kinds of names. One day, your mother-in-law says that she wants to move downstairs with you and your family and rent her place to new tenants so that they can make extra money. That means your daughters will have to share a room and give up their space to your mother-in-law in the already cramped apartment. What do you do?
I mean, it sounds like this character is a little bitch and she's not gonna do anything, but I would say no. I would literally it seems like I'm not living a good life. It seems like I hate my life. I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters that probably don't do shit for me, and my husband is a fucking pussy, so I would just probably I would end it all. I'd be like, "Okay, no." I would probably try to kill my mother-in-law. If I was in a show, I would literally try to kill her. I would kill her.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
sucks. I mean, I would say no, and or I would get an apartment somewhere else, and, like, live
Mhm.
there. But I would probably try to murder her with poison, to be honest, and try to get all her money because that's just insane.
Okay.
But I feel like people do live a life like that, which sucks.
A lot of people do, unfortunately. Okay. All right. All right. Let's say you're the same woman. You're still Eran, okay? Your
She
husband
sucks. She sucks.
Yeah. Well, this is similar, It's maybe this is a course character, right? All right. So
Mhm.
your husband Byung-chul, he never defends you when your mother-in-law is abusing you, okay? He is like helpless to his mother's rage and woes. But the truth is that building that your mother-in-law owns is actually your husband's, all right? But at the time, your husband asked his mother-in-law to purchase it under her name using his money because of his poor financial history with creditors. It like prevents him from becoming a building owner. So the
Mhm.
deal was that your mother-in-law had to use her name, all right, but then
Okay.
eventually give back the rights to your family, but she never did. All right. And she still bosses you guys around. You ask your husband to set the record straight or that you'll divorce him, but he doesn't. What do you do?
I knew my husband was a fucking pussy. I fucking knew it. I this is even better, like, how you should try to kill your mother-in-law. I mean, I would fucking divorce him. I'd be like, "You're a fucking loser. You can have sex with your mom if that's how you feel. You seem to love her more than anybody," and I would divorce him. The kids are, like, gonna be the daughters will, like, probably have no respect for their father either. Yeah, I would divorce his ass, and I would fucking try to take all the money, and I'd take the mother-in-law to court, and I would fucking yeah, I would divorce him. That her life is miserable. Like, this character sucks. I'm sure it's excruciating watching this. You're probably like, "Jesus Christ, girlfriend, like, get it together, make a move." I would divorce him, no
Yeah,
problem.
it's so frustrating. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's say you're a different person now. You're a middle-aged male professor named Chung, and you're
Mhm.
married to a woman and you have a son in high school who's studying abroad. You're also having an affair with another woman named Xiang, who you want to marry, but your wife won't sign the divorce papers. Also, you're dying of liver cancer, all right? Your girlfriend, Xiang, wants to donate her liver to you, but it's only possible if she's your legal spouse. But your current wife won't grant you a divorce, and you're slowly dying. What do you do?
Does my current wife know I have liver cancer?
Yeah, she knows.
Wow, she's trying to kill me. That's what's happening. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, in all these situations, I guess I should be more realistic with it. I would be really persuasive with my wife. I'd fucking pull out all the stops. I'd make her think I'm more in love with her than ever.
Oh.
I
Oh.
would be like, I'd cook her dinner, I'd dick her down so hard, and I would literally make her remember why she's so in love with me. And then
Yeah.
I would forge her signature or something to make her divorce me. I don't know. I know,
Yeah.
or something, and then I could be with this fucking young chick that I'm obviously just using for the liver, like, and then just live my life. This guy seems like he's a professor, he has DocuSign and, like, he has notaries, like, he could get a forged signature, but
Yeah.
yeah, or I would just get on a different liver, transplant list or something, or I would just die fucking the hot chick, like, who cares? I don't know, but my wife sounds like a
Yeah.
fucking dick.
Yeah, she
God,
is.
there's so much drama in this series. This is so
Uh,
sad.
so many
So
so many victims and so many villains. Yeah.
yeah. It seems like this is a lot of spouse on spouse crime. Like, wow. Be careful who you marry, my God.
Okay, let's say now you're a little boy named Ki Young. You're about 10 years
Mhm.
old. Your mother died in a car accident when you were very young. And then your father remarried, and you have a stepmom and a half sister. But your stepmom neglects you constantly. She doesn't say anything kind to you. She doesn't let you play with your sister. She blatantly discriminates against you by showing favoritism to her daughter, but totally neglects you. On top of that, your father is a very busy man and he's never home. So you're mostly by yourself. But you have a maternal uncle who is a divorce attorney, and you used to see him at least once a week to hang out. He's so loving to you, and you love your uncle. Seeing him is the one thing you have to look forward to. But your stepmother is now saying you can't see your uncle ever. What do you do?
Well, what a stepmom, am I right? That's classic. I mean, I would sneak in to see my, uncle, it'd be like a sexy little, affair with my uncle. That's pretty much what would happen, and then I would try to make that lady's life a living hell. I would fucking ruin everything, all of her clothes. I would fucking
Yeah.
if she any I would, like, put fast food in her car and let it stay there, put onions, and, like, I would fuck her up for sure. Like, this boy seems really sweet, but he needs to
Yeah.
get a little evil, and so I would fuck her life up, and then hopefully they'd send me away to, like, a boarding school, and I don't have to deal with him? So, like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think he needs to, like, kinda hit his stepmom or something. Like, I would try to be sent away ASAP Rocky, and I would be sent away for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. That's funny how like none of these victims fight back. They're like
Yeah.
they're helpless to their situation and they just continuously behave like morally upright people and let this asshole just wreak havoc in their lives. It's really funny how that goes on.
Yeah, but I feel like in real life, if you're feeling like someone's doing you dirty, it's a slow burn, to your
Mm,
tipping point. So I feel like this
yeah.
boy, like any of these situations, it's like like the 50-year-old with the fucking mother-in-law, which is the
Yeah.
worst thing I've ever fucking heard. I would die. Literally, like the breadwinner does everything, is the fucking owner of the or that she like is the supervisor of the
Yeah.
building. Her
Yeah.
mother-in-law's calling her fat and stupid,
And
calling her who's
lazy.
fucking
Yeah.
jealous and lazy.
Yeah.
I yeah, that's probably you just probably deal with that and be like, "Oh," and then eventually there's gonna be a turning point and you will cheat on your husband and, like, probably push your mother down the stairs just a little bit. But yeah, that's a terrible life. That's why I can never I can never get married now hearing all these stories, like, I'm scared. At least not to a Korean man. I'm like, I don't even know what's gonna happen now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those were her choices. I mean, that's what we gotta fucking admit at the end of the day. It's like, "Bitch, you chose that man and you chose this life." It's like,
Yeah,
you could also choose to undo these things. Alright, last question. Let's say you're Seung-han, you're the divorce attorney, you're that uncle dude, alright? You
okay.
have a nephew named Ki-young whom you love. Ki-young is your late sister's son. Your nephew's chauffeur, all right, he comes from money. His chauffeur, who's like an uncle to Ki-young since he was an infant, all right, he recently gets fired because the family's like not happy with Ki-young, all right? This is what happened. The chauffeur noticed that Ki-young seems depressed and he starts binge eating junk food at a convenience store every single night. And then he
Okay.
gets sick and then he barfs it all out. All right. Clearly not a healthy thing, but he does this every night. So Kyung chauffeur tells his stepmom about it and says, I think he's a little depressed. Maybe he should see a doctor. and then the stepmom fires him. He's like, "You should mind your own fucking business." Fires his ass. All right. When you try talking to Kyung's parents about it, they tell you to mind your own fucking business. All right. One day, your nephew runs away from home and says to you with tears in his this 10-year-old boy's eyes, he's saying to you tearfully, he's like, "You're an attorney and I need you to rescue me from my family." What do you do?
Well, this is so okay. I feel like this is a boring answer, but I feel like realistically, you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I can help you," but you can't. I mean, I guess you'd have to talk to his dad and be like, "You're like, I think the dad's the problem here." You know what I mean? The dad is fucking crazy. So I would just offer to take the son, like, take my nephew in and like live with them, and
Mhm,
then, but like that's never gonna happen because the fucking dad won't
mhm.
give up custody. So that's gonna be a long battle, and then this kid's gonna be fucked up for a while, and then
Yeah,
eventually he'll probably come live with me when he's like 16, 17, and then he'll go on and have to go to therapy and like hate his stepmom, even though his dad and his stepmom is gonna get divorced. So like,
yeah,
because like she seems evil, and
yeah,
like as the uncle, I'm gonna have such guilt that my sister's son is so fucked up, so that's gonna be a never ending, so sad situation. So really, but I think it comes down to that my brother-in-law is a fucking idiot, and I would have to sit him down and be like, I would honestly, if I tried to get this on, I would try to be like, I'm a divorce attorney. She's not gonna get anything. We can settle this where like you're gonna have all the
Oh,
money. I think
yeah.
that's how I would try to convince him.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and then I would hire the chauffeur to chauffeur me around so that he had a job. But
I love
yeah,
that
but
answer. Yeah.
this is like the worst scenarios for everybody, and it's never gonna be a happy ending. I'm like, "Is this show have a happy ending for anybody?" And apparently no, it's like kinda like gloomy. It's never gonna be good. But I guess that's life. I think in life you don't really understand that your life sucks until maybe the very end. You're like, "Oh yeah, I guess it wasn't really the sunshine and rainbows," but you don't really think about that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that sucks.
The show ends on a happy note, it does. But, no, I love your answers, and I love that answer. It's like, "Oh, like, let me get into the nephew's father's head and, like, manipulate some wheels in there to get him to divorce his current wife." Yeah,
Yeah.
that
But
I
I feel
dig.
like
Yeah.
But also, I feel like I'm never that involved with my brother's wives, you know what I mean? Like, even like, cause my brothers have, like, crazy wives, and I stay out of it, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. Kids can suffer. I don't wanna be in the drama," you know? So, who knows? Maybe I would just tell my nephew to suck it the fuck up, and again, get kicked out of the house and go to boarding school. That's what I would fucking say, like, Jesus. I'm like a man who's, like, in his 50s probably. I
Yeah.
don't need you fucking pulling on my ear trying to get me involved in that shit. No
Yeah.
thanks. But, I'll be like,
Yeah.
"I'll take you on a vacation every summer. I have
Oh,
money.
okay.
I'll take you on vacation, and then that can be your sanctuary, and then
That's a
once a
fair
year."
compromise. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, that's it. That's it. That wraps it up. Thank you, Ruby. This is such a
No
pleasure.
problem. No problem.